Pakistan denied Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi permission to fly over the Pakistani airspace for his upcoming visit to Saudi Arabia. India has now dragged Pakistan to the global civil aviation body. Now, India has reached out to the International Civil Aviation Organization against Pakistan for denying the use of Pakistani airspace for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's transit. Now, Islamabad has announced that it will not be allowing the use of its airspace for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's flight during his visit to Saudi Arabia. Now remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Saudi Arabia is slated from the 28th till the 29th of October, that is from today and tomorrow. And Pakistan has also denied the use of its airspace for President Ramnath Kovind's plane in early September during his three-country visit to Europe. Now, sources have said that Pakistan's decision has been conveyed to the Indian High Commission in Islamabad. But remember, this is not the first time that the permission has been asked and it has been declined by the Pakistanis. The move comes weeks after Islamabad had rejected an official request from India last to allow Prime Minister Narendra Modi's flight to fly over Pakistani airspace for travelling to the United States for the United Nations General Assembly session. Last month, Pakistan's Federal Aviation Ministry had denied President Ramnath Kovind the use of Pakistani airspace for his flight to Iceland. Pakistan had shut its airspace for all commercial flights after the Balakot strikes by the Indian Air Force. In June, something pretty similar had happened, but then India had chosen to take the longer route. It takes 4 hours longer to circumvent the Pakistani airspace and to not fly over it. And this, interestingly, was another time that India sought permission that has now been declined by Pakistan again. So, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be departing for Saudi Arabia today with a focus on energy, launching of the RuPay card in the Saudi Arabian Kingdom, and also a speech at the third Future Investment Initiative Forum, also known as the Davos of the Desert. So on Tuesday, Prime Minister Modi will be holding a bilateral meeting with King Salman of Saudi Arabia, and separate delegation-level talks with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will also take place. Both sides will be signing a Memorandum of Understanding on Strategic Partnership Council, which will be headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also the Crown Prince. Now, as per the Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia has selected 8 countries for forging strategic partnership. Now, these include the United States, United Kingdom, China, France, Germany, South Korea, Japan and India. Now, the highlight of the visit will be, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech to the Future Investment Initiative Forum in Riyadh. The Prime Minister will be attending the third session of the investment meet and will deliver the keynote address. Now, the FII has been organized by the Kingdom's Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Public Investment Fund, and is organized under the Saudi King's Vision 2030. Now, energy, of course, remains one of the key components of the visit, with India importing, remember, as much as about 18% of its crude oil requirement from the West Asian nation to help 2.6 million Indian community. India is also launching the RuPay card. Saudi Arabia is the third country in West Asia after Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates to get this facility. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates and Jordan are the 3 countries in West Asia who have increased their engagements with New Delhi, even as Pakistan continues to sulk. Now, India has said that Saudi Arabia has shown remarkable understanding of the recent developments that have taken place in the de-operationalization of the special status of the now erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. All right, now for more on this, we're joined in by Vyons Siddhant Sibal, who is joining us live, and he's been tracking this story very, very closely for us. So good morning to Siddhant. So as the Indian Prime Minister will be departing for Saudi Arabia today for a 2-day visit, give us a sense of what are the key focus areas and the possible outcomes from this visit.
Well, there will be three major outcomes expected. First on energy, second on people-to-people ties, and thirdly on continuation of strategic partnership. When it comes to energy, expect MOUs being signed when it comes to renewable energy. Also MOU expected between Indian Oil Middle East and Al Jairi company. Also continuation of the momentum on the development of the West Coast refinery, which is the biggest greenfield refinery being built in India with the help of Saudi's Aramco. Also, Saudi has been invited for taking part in India's strategic petroleum reserves, and there can be an announcement on that part as well. But also, when it comes to strategic partnership, expect MOU being signed. This strategic partnership council will be led by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Saudi Crown Prince, and will have two verticals. One when it comes to the foreign ministry, and second on trade ministry. So a lot of outcome expected from this short, brief visit of the Indian Prime Minister to Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely indeed. And one of the big important aspects of this visit is also likely to be the efforts that will be taken by the Indian Prime Minister to increase people-to-people contacts between India and Saudi Arabia. What can be expected on that front?
Well, when it comes to people-to-people ties, we know 2.6 million strong Indian communities live there, and they send approximately $11 billion worth of remittances. But two outcomes: one on RuPay card, Saudi Arabia will become the third country in West Asia to get a RuPay card. That will help the people, the Indians there, Indian community living there, and also the 2 lakh Hajis who go to Saudi Arabia annually. Secondly, on integration of India's e-migrate system with Saudi portals, that will help in safeguarding the Indian workers, making sure that there are guidelines for safeguarding the employment terms for the Indian workers. We also expect quota to be increased when it comes to the flights between the two countries, from India to Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia to India. We saw that during the visit of the Saudi Crown Prince earlier this year, there was announcement of increase in seats to 8,000 per year.
You know, that's an interesting point that you actually raised. Almost about 2.6 million Indians presently live and work in Saudi Arabia. India is forging and growing in terms of its ties with Saudi Arabia. But one other nation that also considers itself a very close ally of Saudi Arabia is Pakistan. So what sort of a message is this visit by the Indian Prime Minister likely to send to Islamabad?
The fact that the Indian Prime Minister has been invited for the Future Investment Initiative Forum shows the position New Delhi enjoys. But also we have seen in last few years India has been able to win away three important countries from Pakistan, which is Saudi Arabia, UAE and Jordan, towards itself. These three countries have become pro-India in a very large term. But also we saw ahead of this visit of the Indian Prime Minister, the MEA saying that Saudi understands its position on Kashmir, especially developments when it comes to Kashmir regarding revocation of the special status for the erstwhile state. And quoting the words of MEA, this has had a salutary effect on Pakistan. But also when it comes to the issue of terrorism, both countries are concerned about the issue of terrorism. In fact, Saudi Arabia has condemned the Uri attacks, the Pulwama attack, and we have seen how there have been increased high-level visits between the two countries. But the message is loud and clear that Saudi-New Delhi relationship is here to stay and based on solid foundation of people-to-people ties on energy and new geopolitical realities.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Siddhant Sibal, for joining us and getting us all those updates in terms of what is likely to happen as the Indian Prime Minister visits Saudi Arabia. We'll be tracking the developments as they unfold through the day. But